Meet Cindy. She's a beautiful princess copepod. That's not really a thing, but given that she's taken it upon herself to wear a crown made of stentors, today we're going to allow her the title of princess. Copepod. The name means oar feet, as their feet beat like oars to pull them through the water. They are a small group of crustaceans found in both freshwater and saltwater. There are 14,000 species of copepods known, and 2,800 of them live in freshwater. Many of the different marine species live on the ocean floor, but for the ones that live on land, you might find them in places like swamps, leaf litter in wet forests, bogs, springs, ponds, puddles, damp moss, freshwater caves, sinkholes, streams, or water-filled recesses, like that dirty bucket filled with rainwater in your back garden. Like other crustaceans, copepods have a larval form. For copepods, the egg hatches with a head and a tail, but no true thorax or abdomen. The larva molts several times until it resembles the adult. The nauplius form, which is the baby form, is so different from the adult form and looks more like a microscopic tiny white crab than a copepod, and once was thought to be a completely separate species until 1832. Before that, biologists thought these little juvenile copepods were actually just little fish lice. But later on they discovered they were actually a copepod baby. So on to characteristics. Most copepods have a single eye in the middle of their head, but some copepods of a different genus have two eyes. Each eye has a large anterior lens and posterior internal lens, which basically forms a telescope for the micro critter. The eye is usually bright red in the center of their transparent head. Some subterranean species may be completely eyeless. Copepods vary in size quite a lot, but they can typically be between 1 to 2 millimeters long, with a sort of teardrop-shaped body and a large antennae. Some polar copepods can reach up to 1 centimeter in size. Like other crustaceans, they have an armored exoskeleton, which just sounds cool by itself. But the armor is so thin that it is almost entirely transparent. Because of their size, copepods have no need for a heart or circulatory system, and most also lack gills. Instead, they absorb oxygen directly into their bodies and then out through some glands. So, now to their behaviour. What's up with that? Well, some copepods are slow and hardly move at all, ranging all the way up to maximum effort insane teleportation level 1000. Some copepods have extremely fast escape responses when a predator is sensed, and can jump over a few millimeters in just a second. But despite their fast escape responses, copepods still get munched on by slow animals such as the seahorse, which approaches them very, very gradually and slowly that the copepod can't even sense any turbulence in the water. And then within one suck off a seahorse, no, I didn't say what you thought I said, the seahorse will gobble them up within one suck, as I said. It's a tough existence being so small in such a big water world. You would think it would be impossible to find a mate, but female copepods are able to emit a certain pheromone which leaves a trail in the water that the male can follow to find his princess. This reminds me of the story of Hansel and Gretel. If Hansel and Gretel followed a trail of goo instead of breadcrumbs, and instead of a witch in a gingerbread house, They just got some nookie. The female can produce her eggs without the male, but where's the fun in that? Tell me about their diet. No problem. Well, what does little princess eat? Many saltwater copepods are benthic, meaning they eat detritus, which is a posh way of saying they eat a lot of crap. Literal crap. Most free-living copepods feed directly on phytoplankton, catching each cell individually. A single copepod can consume over 350,000 microscopic phytoplankton per day. Like amphipods, some of the larger species are predators of their own smaller relatives and aren't shy when it comes to eating their babies. Many benthic copepods eat organic detritus, or bacteria that breeds within it, using their mouths that's been adapted for scraping and biting. Herbivorous copepods are able to store some of their nutrition as oil droplets for the winter, almost like a bear when they fatten up for the change of season. And then, when spring comes, the copepods feast on all of the plankton that blooms. Many copepods are actually parasites and feed on their host organisms. In fact, half of all of the known 14,000 copepod species are actually parasitic. Interesting. Lifestyle. How did these egg sacs arrive here? During mating, the male copepod grips the female with his first pair of antennae, and he forces open her thoracic limbs and produces an adhesive packet of spunk. Yep, spunk, delivered straight to her genital doors. The eggs are sometimes laid directly into the water, but many species enclose them within a sac attached to the female's body until they're ready to hatch. In some of the pond-dwelling species, the eggs have a tough shell that they can lie dormant for very, very long periods of time, so if the pond dries up, the eggs will survive long enough for the pond to refill, and then the eggs can hatch when ready. The same as the amphipods I recently explored on this channel, scientists have actually found copepod eggs that have been estimated to be 300 years old, and when they put the eggs in water again, they still hatched. Woohoo! For marine tank hobbyists like myself, one thing to be aware of is copepods can still be subject to infection, specifically by the most common parasite in the marine environment, the dinoflagellates, or dinos for short, which will act as a gut parasite in many of these copepod species. So, if you have a big dino outbreak in your tank, it might be worth replenishing your copepod population by buying some from your LFS, local fish shop. Oh yeah. Well, I hope you've enjoyed exploring beautiful Princess Cindy Copepod with me. If so, let me know with a cheeky little like, and if you enjoy this kind of hot topic and some cool microscope footage, give us a subscribe and we can continue this epic journey of discovery into and through the microverse. Things are only going to get better here, so don't miss out and join me. Goodbye!